This is the Uncanny Omar, and I am here with Jim Zub. How are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for joining me. And you having fun here at Lexington Comic Con?
Yeah. It's my first time in Kentucky, so it's been nice. Great hospitality. Fans have been great. Yeah, it's been a fun show.
We are known for our southern hospitality and charm. Dude, we're a horse state. Do you like bourbon?
I do, actually.
Oh, you're in the right state,
I'm
man.
gonna
You're in
be
the right state.
In good shape. Take a good bottle home.
So, Wayward, and you've done stuff for the big two, or Marvel working on Thunderbolts, which I just read. I just told you. What's been your favorite thing you've worked on so far?
Oh man, I mean, I love sword and sorcery stuff. So I love Dungeons and Dragons, Conan the Barbarian. All that stuff is really my jam. So anytime I get to work with magic or supernatural characters, that's always a big joy. But I mean, so much of this stuff has been kind of surreal when I think about it. You know, getting to contribute to the superhero stuff, getting to do, yeah, just all these stories and things. It is a real ride. But yeah, I've got a soft spot for the sword and sorcery.
I love it. I love it. And it shows. Now, okay. So, how did you first start? Were you a fan of comics growing up?
Yeah, I'm a longtime collector, reader. I started reading comics when I was around 8 or 9 years old, and I started collecting soon after. My first books were probably G.I. Joe and then Spider-Man.
Nice, like the Larry Hama G.I. Joe?
Oh yeah, big time.
You know he's here, right?
Oh, I know. I've met Larry a couple times and fanboyed out quite a bit. Yeah, all those books were really seminal to me. I was watching the cartoon, collecting the toys and the comics. It was really awesome. And then I kind of ported over to Spider-Man because I had seen him in Spidey Super Stories and the Electric Company magazine.
That's how they hook you.
Yeah, and then I started collecting Amazing Spider-Man, and I was a Marvel boy all right after that. Yeah.
So is it weird to be writing for Marvel then, growing up with it?
Yeah, it's surreal at times. There was a few times early on when I was doing stories and I would have these like moments where I realize I'm typing something and I go, oh, I just did a thwip sound effect and I did a line for Spider-Man, or, you know, Captain America's saying this or doing this, and you're like, it's a good feeling but a weird one at the same time. Actually, the first one that really kind of set me off was I realized I was talking to Tom Brevoort, my editor, and I said, you know, I wanted to use a certain villain. He said that character wasn't available. He said, just make another one that does the same thing. And I was like, we can do that? And he goes, yeah, that's how we made the Marvel Universe, Jim. We made stuff. And I was like, oh, I can make stuff. And that became kind of addictive. So making new heroes, making new villains, tying old kind of, you know, bits and plot lines together, that's a lot of fun for me, yeah.
Yeah, because Thunderbolts has a legacy, right? Like, I mean, it started with Buzix around Fabian Nicieza took over, and then eventually it became Fight Bolts, as everybody likes to call it. And then, you know, Warren Ellis came back, or actually Fabian Nicieza before Warren Ellis, and then Andy Diggle, and I think in the end, yeah, it was Jeff Parker. I love that stuff.
Yeah, the Jeff Parker run I really love. Obviously, Buzik's run set the tone for everybody. Charles Soule did the run with the Thunderbolt Ross team. Yeah, all kinds of different versions of the team. And so I've had 2 chances now to write Thunderbolts. I did the Bucky-led one, the Winter Soldier-led one, which was right before Secret Empire, and now this new one with Hawkeye back in the lead. So
okay, so I've read the first trade. I'm not going to give away anything because it's not out until Tuesday. But
right.
Oh no, yeah, it is Tuesday. How much more are we going to see of this team?
I can't say. So it's things are still being planned out in terms of the future, but it was fun to be able to kind of iterate on. Like, I love Hawkeye as a character. I've never had a chance to really write him at length. I did a little bit during No Surrender, but this was like a really cool opportunity to kind of show him in this sort of midlife crisis. He really wants to get back to the kind of West Coast Avengers when he felt like he had control over his life. Yeah. And this isn't that, but this is the, you know, consolation prize, and he's got to try and make the most of it. When I pitched it to CB, I was sort of saying this is sort of Hawkeye's Ted Lasso moment. Like, he's not the right guy for the job, but he's got to step into that role and become the right guy, and a lot of heart on your sleeve kind of, you know, action and comedy. That was sort of how I looked at it. Yeah.
So approaching those characters, because they're Marvel characters, right? How different is that than approaching things like Wayward?
Well, I mean, with a creator-owned book, you get to forge all of it yourself, which is amazing, but you also don't have anything to build off of. You're making the foundation, which is very freeing and very creative, but it can be kind of fun to have existing material and realize that you can iterate, that you're like, oh, based on what I've seen before, what do I think is the core of this character and where can we possibly go with it? They're different creative muscles. Like I like doing both. I love doing creator own. I love having that kind of open sandbox space to make what I want. But then obviously as a fan growing up with this stuff and the brand name recognition of being able to say, oh, I'm working on whatever, Avengers or Iron Man or something like that, that is such a, it's exciting for you personally, and then it's also really fun to be able to do, you know? Yeah.
All right. So I got to ask,
Yeah.
what can you tell us about Conan?
So Conan, I did a run at Conan at Marvel. This is like my third time writing Conan, which is kind of cool. I did Conan Red Sonja miniseries with Gail Simone and Dan Panosian back at, it was a Dark Horse Dynamite crossover. Then I got to write Conan at Marvel. I did a Savage Sword story. I did a Serpent War crossover, and then I did 13 issues of the flagship book. Marvel ended their license with Conan Properties.
Oh yeah, we're familiar with it.
And, you know, Savage Avengers, all that stuff wrapped up. And now Conan is relaunching at Titan. And I'm working directly with Conan Properties, which is amazing. I got the artist I've dreamt of to work with on this book. So this guy, Rob De La Torre. If you haven't heard his name before, you are going to know his stuff.
He was my choice for a Conan artist.
He is brilliant. I've wanted to work with him for ages. Don't get me wrong. Everyone I've collaborated with on Conan has been great, but this guy has got something really, really special going. And then we've got Jose Villarrubia on
The colorist. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, I love his stuff.
Brilliant. We've got Richard Starkings on lettering. It's like a dream team, right from top to bottom. Our first issue is the 0 issue. That's going to be free comic book day, and it looks phenomenal. And then the full series launches the week of San Diego Comic-Con. I think that's third week of July.
Okay.
So we are super, super pumped. We're really far ahead on the book. It's looking phenomenal, and I am stoked.
How far ahead?
I mean, I'm working on issue 5 right now, and it doesn't come out until July.
So you're...
Yeah, and we're going into arc 2. I can't say who the artist is on arc 2, but Rob De La Torre is drawing arc 1. We've got another phenomenal artist on arc 2. Then Rob's back for arc 3. So it's gonna be stellar. Yeah.
So I love the fact that they're really, I mean, they're putting a lot of their cards on Conan. We've got the reprints of the classic Omnis that were,
Yep.
and that was a big deal for Titan because not a lot of publishers get to have the Marvel logo on the inside of the book.
Yes.
It's quite amazing. I got to break the news from Titan for them.
Yeah,
It was
I'm
nice.
glad. I love those omnibuses. I'm glad they're reprinting the early ones and they're continuing where they left off. So it's going to make for just like awesome looking shelf, just that perfect collection from top to bottom. So
And it's still Corey Settlemeyer and his team working on the restoration.
That's
So it makes
right.
me happy about that. Is that what you want to see? You want to see a Jim Zub
Yes.
omnibus?
So they asked me, they said, how many Conan stories do you want to write? I said, look, when we're done, when that omnibus is done,
Yes.
if we drop off a third story landing, I want to kill a child. I want it to be a very thick book, like very impressive. I'll write Conan as long as I can. I absolutely love the character. You know, growing up on those books, they meant so much to me. And so now being able to contribute to the legacy of that character it's a dream come true.
Man, I love hearing that somebody's a fan
Yeah.
and you're getting to write it. And you obviously had years of experience writing Sword and Sorcerer.
Yeah, I can't get enough. Like right now, I'm literally writing Dungeons and Dragons, Red Sonja, and Conan the Barbarian. Like I kind of got fantasy down on lock, and that is exactly where I want to be. So, yeah.
See, I overheard you say omnibus in there. When can we expect a big collection of Wayward?
I would love to see an all-in-one collection of it.
We do too.
Here's what I'm hoping. So next year is the 10th anniversary of Wayward. Seems like a perfect time to make that kind of a collection.
Right?
Yeah.
Maybe we just need to talk to the right people to make that happen.
I think that would be pretty darn cool. Yeah, Wayward is one of my favorite creator-owned projects. Steve and I had such a good time putting it together. And this weekend, I've actually signed a lot of Wayward. People brought them by. Still a lot of love for it. Skull Kickers, too. I think because, I mean, Skull Kickers, when it first came out, no one kind of knew who I was. But now because I've done so much Dungeons & Dragons and so much Conan, people are sort of tracking back. Or I can say, look, if you like that stuff, this is where it all started. This was kind of my own pure kind of fantasy thing. So, yeah, it's been fun.
Well, man, thank you so much for your time,
Hey,
Jim.
absolute
And I cannot
pleasure.
wait to read that Conan. I'm serious.
you.
I'm a huge fan, and I love Conan, so I think it's in good hands.
Well, you know what? I think here I might have that free comic book day issue after the camera's off. I'll show it to you.
That's awesome. All right,
All right.
I'll shut the camera off.